Good morning, student. In this lecture, we will discuss what is the difference between legislative, executive, and the judiciary. These three are the organs of the Indian government, and there has been separation of powers which is being given to these three organs. Plus, they also put a check and balance on each other. So, without going into deeper into this, let us first of all talk about legislative. It is that organ which makes the law, which legislate a law. In India, basically, Parliament is responsible for making of a law. For example, a bill will be coming into any one of the house of the parliament, and after being passed from the both house of the parliament, president will give his assent, and that bill will be converted into law. So basically, it is the legislative which is responsible for making of the law. And in state legislative assemblies are there, in which bill is being passed to state legislative assembly, and after being passed from that assembly, governor of that particular state give his assent to that bill, and that bill will be becoming a law. So basically, in parliament and state legislative assemblies are they are responsible for making of the law. So they are part of the legislative organ. Now who is implementing that law? Power of implementation of that law is being given to executive. Plus executive is also responsible for the day to day administration of state agency or over this whole India. For example, in executive we have prime minister, cabinet minister, state minister, all state agencies, central agencies, plus police and civil service, all that they directly report to the government, central government or state government. So they are responsible for the day to day administration. They are not responsible for making of the law generally. For example, a bill was being passed, like motor vehicle amendment bill, that increases the fine if you don't if you don't do not have any your driving license. You will be fine was increased from 2000 to 5000. So this bill has been amended by bringing that particular bill into the parliament. So MP, member of parliament, were responsible for making of this law. But the implementation of this law, will MP will come and challan you? No. Challan will be done by a nearby, we can say, police. So police will be challan you. He will be challanning you on the order of the higher authority like SP or DM, or and they will be acting on the order of the higher authorities like motor, who will be a minister, and he will be acting under the state CM, and that state CM will be getting order from central government. So they are acting in this hierarchy. So they are responsible for the implementation of the law basically, and they are responsible for the day-to-day administration. So this organ is called executive, and they have real power, we can say that, because current government is like BJP, so they have power for implementation of the all law which is being passed by parliament. Then third one is judiciary. Judiciary is an independent organ. They declare any law passed by legislative or any order which is being passed by executive be unconstitutional if they are going against the spirit or the provisions of the Indian Constitution. So this is the power of judiciary. They can declare any law, order of the legislative, executive unconstitutional if they are inconsistent, if they are being made inconsistent with the provisions of the Indian Constitution. So this is the judiciary, legislative to make a law, executive for the implementation of the law, plus the day-to-day administration. Then judiciary seeing that the law or order which has been passed by other two organs, are they consistent with the provision of the Constitution? If they are inconsistent, they will be declared null and void. So these are the three organs. Now let us discuss how they put a check and balance on each other. How legislative check executive? Legislative simply means parliament, and in parliament we say that there is opposition. How they check the executive? Basically the persons who are in power like prime minister, cabinet minister, they will be checking the executive by putting and criticizing their policies. For example, if there is a surprise in the increase of the coronavirus cases, they will be asking a question from the central government how they are tackling the coronavirus, why they are unable to tackle the coronavirus, and they will be asking for all the policies which is being taken by central government. Basically they will be criticizing. So it is a check on the executive by a legislature. Moreover, they can also pass a no confidence vote in the parliament itself, in the Lok Sabha basically. So no confidence vote if passed in the Lok Sabha, the current government, like BJP is the current government, they have to resign. The current government will be dissolved. So this is also another way how legislator can check the executive. First of all, they criticize and ask questions from the executive. So we have seen in the newspaper or TV how opposition asks questions from the executive. Plus, they take part in the impeachment of the judges. For example, judiciary and Supreme Court or High Court judges are removed by the process called the impeachment. And this impeachment process, member of the parliament, that is legislature, they take a part. So this is also the way how legislature can check judiciary as well. If any judge is being charged with misconduct or misbehavior or incapacity, a resolution will be coming in any house of the parliament, be it Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, and if that has been passed by both houses of the parliament, that particular judge will be impeached, he will be removed from the office. So basically this is the main how legislature is checking judiciary. Now how judiciary checks legislature and executive? Declaring law or executive order unconstitutional by power of judicial review. By judicial review basically means that judges have power to view the any order or the law passed by legislature and executive, checking if they have been inconsistent with the Indian constitution. If they found that they are inconsistent with the Indian constitution, they will declare that law or order as unconstitutional. So this is the way how judiciary checks on executive as well as of legislature. Now another how they checks is judicial activism. What do you mean by judicial activism? Judicial activism simply means judges are coming out of their power and they are instructing or they are directing or they are advising legislature and executive to do their constitutional duties. For example, right to electricity, right to having water, they are the basic rights. They are also our fundamental rights. And if government or if a legislator and executive are unable to provide these facilities to the Indian citizen, judiciary will advise them. They can scold them as well to please do their mandated constitutional duties. So this is kind of activism. So this is a judicial activism. They can also do judicial activism. So this is also way how they check on executive and legislature. Third one is by asking various questions, reports from executive. Judiciary can also ask reports from executive how they are tackling coronavirus. So this is also way how they can put a check and balance on executive and legislature. Now third one is executive. Now how they will be checking on judiciary and legislature? By making appointment to the office of Supreme Court and High Court. We know that Supreme Court judges are appointed by central government only, even though they have to appoint only that person that is recommended by the collegiums of the Supreme Court judges itself. But in number of cases they have also used their own discretionary power to grant pardon despite remission of punishment. For example, if any person is convicted by Supreme Court of being a life imprisonment or death sentence, then president executive or the current government has power to pardon that, to reduce the sentence, even to completely set a person free. So he will be free from any type of imprisonment. This power is being used by central government. Basically, president has power to pardon despite, but the president do this power on the advice of the central government. So this is another way how there is a overlapping powers between judiciary and executive. Plus, executive has power to issue ordinance. What do you mean by ordinance? Ordinance are the temporary laws. For any law to be made, it has to be passed by normally in normal course of time. They have to be passed by the both houses of the parliament. But when there is an extraordinary situation or unexceptional cases, cabinet central government can come up with the ordinance. They will be ordinance basically passed by president again on the aid and advice on the recommendation of the central government. In ordinance they are temporary law. They have not to be go through the normal procedure of the parliament. They will be made directly when parliament is not in session. So again this is also the power of executive which is been overlapping with the legislature. So in this lecture we have discussed what is the legislature, executive or judiciary and how they are checking and balancing on each other. Legislature any organ which makes the law, executive responsible for the implementation of that act and the policies, plus helping into the day-to-day administration of that of country basically. You tell in India which one is responsible for the day-to-day administration of India, like district magistrate, police, and all the department is basically responsible for the day-to-day administration. They all act on the orders of their higher authorities, and that all authority and plus who are acting on the higher authority, there comes in the executive. For example, police, the person who is chalaning you, even the constable comes in the executive because they are implementing the law. They are simply just implementing that law and policies. So they all comes in the executive. Judiciary, all the judicial system like Supreme Court and High Court judges. So basically this is the difference between all.